Today on the 1965 Pontiac, we are working on the firewall wiring, engine primary wiring, and engine secondary wiring. The first thing to do here is to convert the original points style ignition system to a Pertronix igniter system. I've installed dozens of these and never had a problem. In fact, these are improved nowadays where you don't even need a pickup on the distributor anymore. It's just when you do this, while you have the distributor out, make sure that your mechanical advance is working correctly. I'm going to check that. Make sure the vacuum advance is working correctly. I'll use a vacuum pump to test that. Make sure that there's not excessive play in the distributor shaft or anything like that. And clean this up really good. And it depends on all 8 of what we call the towers here being good as well, which I will also check. So if all those things are okay and there's no excessive end play, it doesn't need any bushings or anything like that, we'll install the ignition system, put it in the car, and then we're going to clean up all the wiring on the firewall today and the engine primary and sensors. Stay tuned. Upon inspection, I found that the drive gear to the distributor has an excessive amount of wear on it. You can see how the teeth are actually grooved in. If you get a good look at this is a very common problem back in the day. In fact, it reared its ugly head again on some Chevrolet Vortec engines where it caused the computer to become confused and not know where to set the timing and make the idle and everything go boogaloo. But this car ran pretty good. So what we're going to do with this is I'm just going to replace this gear. I'm going to order one, and there's a roll pin in here. You just punch it out and replace it. And we'll go ahead and upgrade this distributor because everything else about it is good. The bushings are very good on it. And there's no other reason to not use this. And I looked down the hole. There's a brand new camshaft down there. So when they put a camshaft in, they should have done this as well. Now, some might say, well, why don't you get a new distributor? The problem with that is you don't know what you're getting anymore these days. I would rather rebuild the original Delco Remy when possible and just replace the part that it needs versus getting something from the Orient that probably isn't made as well. Stay tuned. So today on the 1965 Pontiac, we're coming along really good with the finished wiring. Pretty much complete from the terminal box to the input fuse, which I just need to find another nut for that. It's missing. Up to the alternator. These 2 wires that go down to the starter will be moved. These wires that go up to the windshield washer, I just need to connect them correctly. Coming around here, we have the electric choke, compressor. The primary wiring here is ready to be connected to the coil and distributor, which had a little issue today that I started out this segment with about the gear, but that'll just plug and play when we're finished. Over here we have the connected heater valve. We always want to leave enough hose here because the engine's going to flex. We have our lines coming up to the front here. Now, there's a kink in this on purpose to give myself a little extra room. And Vintage Air wants you to put an adapter here to take this from 3/4 to 5/8, and it looks kind of ugly. So what I did with that was I put the adapter over here. It'll be under the fender well, but not far enough under where you can't get to it if you need to ever replace the hose. Just a regular brass 5/8 to 3/4 adapter. Very easy to source at Napa. Over here, we sealed up the firewall today. We sealed up the hoses that go into the firewall. And you want to see that nice ooze coming out around the seal here, because that's going to give you water protection, noise protection. The same with any bolt holes that are left over. Seal them up. Over here, we have the drain for the air conditioner coming down along the frame. Back here, we have the wiring to complete, the oil pressure switch, and there's only 1 wire going up to the compressor. I'll wrap that when we're finished. Over here, I was going to put the fender cup, the inner fender on, but I'm not. One of the upgrades that this car is going to get is going to be a cooling system and transmission cooling lines. And they're very easy to get to from here. Somebody made these out of brake lines. They have kinks in them. It's a really good way to fry your transmission. I don't think they did because I don't think this car any miles on it. And also, there's a few leaks in this transmission. I see one right over here at the servo cover. There's one. I'm just going to reseal the whole transmission with the exception of the pump seal. It's not leaking and you're going to pull the tranny for that. The rest of them, we don't have to do that. I'm going to do the servo cover, the shift shaft seal, the reverse switch seal, and the rear main seal. So we're gonna do that probably next 2 or 3 weeks. Up front, we're ready for a new radiator. I'm not going to put the dryer or any of that stuff in yet for the air conditioner because I want to do the radiator first because we don't want to have any problems with fitment with that. So we're just going to leave that for now. All the hoses are roughed in place here. This car is also going to get it's going to get a 4-core desert cooler radiator from Ames. It's also going to get a much better fan. I'm using a clutch fan with sort of a flex on it. Those can pull a lot of air even at low RPM. And we're ready over here with the power steering upgrade. Today I also finished installing the steering column and the steering rag joint. That needs to be, the torque spec on that is VFT. Anybody that was a student of mine at Platt Tech in the automotive department knows what the torque spec for VFT is. All these hoses are connected except for the one that has a crimp fitting. We're going to finish that one in with the proper tool. Next time I'll be able to fit the belts. Hopefully they'll all work. The last thing here today, we made big strides here in the dashboard area. All of the plumbing, or I'd say the air ducting is in place for the vintage air. That's all in and where it belongs. All the wiring is roughed in, just plug and play with the dash unit. The radio is in, the ready rad is connected, and it should be working. So we're really good here. I changed the dash bezels. I just need to put the new knobs and such on. And the steering column is in place. It's sealed. It's connected. All the wiring is connected. Under here, I just need to finish a little padding, but the dash pad, that doesn't mean that the column itself is not connected correctly. It is. And I sealed that really good too. So this just is like it's one of the last things you do when you're finished, in case you have to get at anything. So there you have it. Next time I'll put the dash in. That's going to be a big deal. I'm going to try the steering wheel. That's going to be a big deal. Test everything to make sure it works. That'll be a big deal. And the only thing I can't find anywhere is the silly little light for the glove compartment, which I'll look again at home for. So we're moving right along here, and we're a few weeks away from a test fire. Stay tuned. Also worth mentioning that all the boxes here, all these items have been installed. We have quite a collection here. A small fortune to be sure. And it's definitely worth it that the car that it's going, it's going to be a very, very nice car when it's finished. It already is.